I just want to take a moment to explain my profiles, why I have different accounts, and where you can find me. So, for the most part, I have a main profile, and that's on YouTube and it's on TikTok, and you even have my website. Now, that can encompass a lot of things. For the most part, though, it's about the healing and spiritual journey. So, it's about really helping people through hardships, through my own personal experiences, and I hope to provide some guidance to people. But the thing is, I have other hobbies and interests, and sometimes it can maybe deviate between the primary content. And in small bursts, I don't mind integrating them to both together. But if I start getting an inclination to go heavier one side or the other, it's kind of like it's important that I manage that and then start to have an open mind about like what it is I'm looking to create and how I should present that. So, for instance, if we just look at, I think my YouTube channel is easier to show than my TikTok, for instance, because I can segregate content. So there's a level of control I can have, but at the same time, I recognize if someone subscribes to a certain piece of content, I'm not sure how relevant the rest of it is. And I don't want to sort of like annoy every single person who's looking at content. Although, personally, I prefer to have one hub, but unfortunately, the way it works, it's hard for people to manage that, really. I think if you're going to get notifications about upcoming videos. So anyway, my main profile is Stephen Bradley Waters on YouTube. And you see, Thinking Out Loud is really me being a full introspective. It's really about helping guide people through relevant circumstances. Then we got Spiritualities. That's sharing a spiritual experience. Again, that would be helpful. Tarot Psychics. That's my experiences. With certain sessions, you get an insight into actually how the sessions I've had and things. That's just me. The next one is just me reading really narrations. Then there's like the gaming. There's not like a load of videos, but I'm recognizing it's getting a bit heavier, and I'm focusing more on gaming as the winter unfolds. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to overwhelm this to become a gaming channel. And that's really where I was getting. There's some other content, of course. But again, my TikTok's very similar. It's focused more on healing. There's some spirituality intertwined within it. But there's also a lot of other things I'm doing in the middle of it, where I'm collecting DVDs, movies, and gaming content. Is becoming a bit muddled, and personally, I don't really care. But at the same time, I can see it being confusing, and I'm seeing it go. It can go in a negative way eventually. It all comes together through my website, StephenBradleyWaters.com, where I'll showcase my podcasts. I showcase my books, my audiobooks, the narrations I've done. Where these are just like demos, really, just for me, my enjoyment. A Spotify playlist, and there's some other things, so you can see my content. Effectively, it just brings it all together. With that in mind, I've put this here, but I think maybe I'll move it across. You got my link tree. Now, I put a link tree in the description of most of my videos on YouTube, so people can easily find it. It's available through TikTok as well if you go on my profile. And really, that just brings all of the accounts together. So if people click on that, you'll get access to everything, and then it'll be a lot easier to manage it. You can find my books, you can find all my social media accounts, and I think it's a beautiful sort of website that just amalgamates everything, and that's great. So last night I created a new profile, and it's focused. It was hard to come up with a name, and I got fed up in the end. I'm not someone who likes to be overly creative with it. I don't really care. I just needed to separate the two channels. So, like I say, this one's going to be my main profile. Even if the other one gets more followers, this one will always be my main one. So when I'm really focused on it, I'll be creating content for it. But because of, like, as I said, the winter, I'm going to be creating more gaming content. But I also want to talk about my DVD movie collection, and there's things tying in with that I just effectively it's follow other passions. One's educational for the point of view that I want to uplift, inspire people, help them through a crisis. The other one is me really just sharing my passions, hobbies, and when you have something you're passionate about and truly enjoy, I think the content shows through, like your experience and all that. So it's something I've had a passion for, but it's not my priority, and it never has been. And that's what I have to understand, and I want the viewers to understand. I do it because I enjoy it, and there'll be lull periods at certain stages of the year. Throughout life, really, it's just while I've got an interest in it, it's heavy, then it'll drop back because I've done it in the past. So I made a brand new profile, Stephen Bradley Waters TV, and for me, it just separates it because I had a gaming profile, which I'll show in a moment. But like I said, I want to include other content. I don't want it to just be games. It'll be predominantly be games, but there'll be other content surrounding movies and my DVD collection and things like that. So I didn't want to pigeonhole it with a name that's focused on gaming when there's other content surrounding it. It wouldn't make sense. with that in mind, I have changed my gaming profile on TikTok to StephenBradleyWaters.tv. In all honesty, the title looks a mess because it was BradleyWaters.gaming, which was a bit simpler, I felt. But it was a toss up really, because you want consistency between branding. If I'm going to have, I don't want different names on one profile and different one on another. It makes no sense. So this content, for instance, will adapt. I will, like, for instance, if I create media like DVDs and movies and content, that will get amalgamated into this now as well. So whatever I'm creating for YouTube will get pushed on to TikTok. But as I've said in previous videos, my priority now going forward is YouTube. So the videos will be made for YouTube, in the fact that they're landscape, and then they will be put onto TikTok after. So they'll initially go straight onto YouTube, but I do it very quick. It'll be one goes on, and then I take the video and I put it onto TikTok as well. But yeah, I have more confidence in creating the brand through YouTube. It becomes a platform, and I like that. So one thing to take to note here is the fact that, you have to start somewhere. Everybody has to start with no followers. Everybody has to start with very minimal interactions, all sorts. I don't care how long it takes to grow a channel. I don't care if it grows or not, in all honesty. It's just me sharing my joy, my passions, my hobbies, my interests. So, of course, I have to brand this. I'm going to have to create a banner that goes across the top. I'm going to have to create a profile image, and maybe even cover art for the videos, because you want to be able to differentiate the videos. Otherwise, they're all going to look very similar here without any obvious differentiation from it. So it's going to be interesting, because I've spoken in the past. This is where my mind's going. I've got to try and figure it out. I'm quite lazy when it comes to cover art. I come up with brand style and then I leave it at that, and I just make it. The only alteration is the title. And whilst it works for the profile, the content I'm creating on my main profile, for gaming, I'm wondering whether I should try to be a bit more creative with it and make it stand out for each unique video. It's something I'm playing with the idea. It's a lot of effort though, and I don't create content to have to do a lot of effort after. And mine's more raw, because I haven't got the time and energy for it. I've got other things to do, for instance, like my books and the main content. If I spend so long creating something and then I have to go off and do a load of edit and do all this other work for far more than it took to create the original video, it loses its meaning to me. It's like, this is just crazy. That's becoming a career, and this side of my life is not my career. It's more of a hobby, and that's where I've got to be a bit more. It's got to be streamlined. It has to be easy for me to create the content. Otherwise, I'll just get fed up, because it's not. My career wise, I could easily have gone, because I was creating in that direction of like gaming content, and I could have made that a career. But I've got bigger aspirations than gaming. In all honesty, I intend to do a lot of healing and helping people through situations, and that's where my primary attention is going to be throughout my life. It's not going to be through this. So I did used to get like free gaming codes and products and things, and it was like, that's really nice, but I ended up stopping because it was just not my passion as such. It was more a distraction sometimes. So yeah, I want this to be fun for me and hopefully for the audience too, informative if you like. So that's there, but then I will show this. I've got a gaming website and a gaming brand really that I made it. Inside PC Gaming. It's been around for a long time. That was where I was making all my game content, and I truly enjoyed it. It didn't really grow as high as I felt it should. I felt my content deserved a lot of appreciation, in all honesty. I think we work hard at things. But the name itself forced me down a path. For instance, if I want to talk about... I still did console gaming, for instance. We've got one here where I'm talking about, I think, the Wii U. And got PS Vita here and talking about Xboxes and things. But overall, we're on the name itself ties in just with PC games, so Inside PC Gaming. And for me, it become more of a media brand. It had the potential for that. And that's not where I was going at all. So the thing is, I do hold that one quite significant. So what I didn't want to do is I could have, instead of making the new profile, starting from scratch, I could have just jumped onto that one and said, that's my second account. But where do you put the movies in that? And I'm not sure how the content's going to go, what I want to create yet. And I'm not sure it's going to tie in with that. So if I'm going to create like a magazine branded content, and I thought about that, and I thought, I'm going to be the next IGN, or I'm going to be the next this or that, or at least striving for. That's where the content's going. That's where I would call it. And I would go there, and it's still available, of course, and I can jump on there if I ever choose to. But I wanted it to be more personal. This is my personal opinion on this. This is this and this and this. It's more just an interactive experience, really, between me, personal, rather than a brand. So yeah, I didn't mind starting beginning with it. I don't care, but they own them all anyway, so it is what it is. to that end, I've got a website, Inside PC Gaming. There was a lot more content in the past, but I deleted the website at one point. Then I reinstated it, and I had to sort of scamper for my reviews that I'd wrote in the past. And unfortunately, some got lost, and some were quite great, I felt. That's something else I'm toying with the idea of doing, but it's time consuming. I love doing reviews. It's where I started doing my writing, really where my writing was growing. So really, that's where my hobbies, passion come before I started writing my books. It was through my gaming channel. So I had an absolute love of gaming, and I wanted to create a website. So through that, I created the website. Then it was like, what content do you want for it? And of course, I started writing reviews, writing news articles, doing giveaways. Then I started doing the, like I say, the YouTube channels, because then I could put the videos in the website, and it was growing. And I was getting free merchandise, free products to showcase. When I got a steering wheel, I had to return it, of course, but it was a £350 steering wheel I got delivered to me for free by the manufacturer. It was Thrustmaster, and that was really nice of them. They had that trust. Getting free game codes, which obviously I was free to write my own content. I would never let anyone force me with a certain narrative. But it's a heavy thing when you're trying to go in a different direction too. We can only go so far, you know. Like I say, now if we look at my website, you've got all these, and I talk about this a lot. If I'd stayed focused solely on gaming, I would never have wrote my books. And I've done 6 books at this point. It's incredible. I've got more books in the way. I've already put the hard work in. They'll release it over the spring period, or at least start releasing again in the spring period. Find Your Peace to Save Your Soul only recently released in August. So, yeah, it's been a great journey. But my roots started with my gaming platforms, and I do hold it sacred. I actually lost the name at one point, Inside PC Gaming, and in all honesty, it pissed me off. It's because I let it go, and then I realized that that's my name. I created this brand. That's my website. So whether I really reinvest in it in the future, I really don't know. At the moment, that's not my direction, because like I said, that's a huge commitment to do that. You know, you'd have to stay up with current trends ahead of time. You'd have to constantly be on the ball with the content. Now, you don't have to a certain degree. You can do your reviews, but to be honest, doing a review is hard work. It's hard work because you have to commit to the game. Whereas I prefer to just enjoy myself now. Oh, I always have, really, to be honest. I don't like being forced to sort of like stay playing something for 10 to 20 hours, rigid, just so I can pump out, just so I can really focus on getting that review done. It's one way to create content. It's one way to enjoy that, to engage with games. But for me, I'm far more whimsical. I just like playing for the love of playing. And I think that's what will show through my new YouTube channel, is whatever I'm dealing with at that moment, I will be talking about or demonstrating and showing. There'll be extended plays, like I did a video recently. I didn't realize how long I'm playing. I got so engrossed in it. I've done it like it's nearly an hour video, and I thought, to be honest, it's long, even like any gaming one, unless someone's truly interested in the game. So I'm going to have to do a highlight section as well, I think, where I can release a full-length video, but then I can also release a very short snippeted one that's more practical. So there's so much scope for things, you know. And I think the thing is, the experience I've had through the live streaming I did, through the gaming channel I created, through the websites I've done, it allows me that foresight to know what I'm stepping into and what I want to create and how I want to create it. But like I said, it really is important, of course, for all of us that we have a primary focus. And mine, from going forward, will always be my main profile, regardless whether it has less subscribers in the future than the other one. It's where my heart centers. It centers on helping people in a practical way and for their personal life, and seeking balance amongst everything. And again, there, and it'll be through the website really where you see it predominantly, hence why you don't really see any gaming content. You only see my professional side, and then maybe you start seeing some gaming stuff further down. But hopefully that's of interest to people, and if anyone's interested in gaming and movie collections and looking at that, because that's what I want to do. I want to pull some sort of random films off my shelf sometimes and maybe just discuss the film and say why I like that one, or how rare this one is and how hard it is to get there, and all these different things. It's not even just that. It could be my music collection. It could be anything. And that's why I wanted it to be open-ended. So it's really pulling passions. It could be so random that I talk about something completely different. And it's by having that just title at the end, that TV, it literally could mean anything. Yeah, it was going to be media. It was going to be entertainment. But my name's long enough. That's where the problem come. I actually wanted Stephen Bradley Waters Entertainment because I thought it's further amplifies it. But then it's like, that's such long. Even media itself, I thought, what's media though? I was like, damn, I want to put it. The TV seems to be something a lot of people go with, and it's like, that made sense to me. So yeah, for instance, everything really you can find through main profiles anyway. So if you're thinking, I don't really know where his gaming channel is, I haven't updated my link tree yet. It'll be there eventually. If if you was on my YouTube profile, for instance, you just scroll down and you'll see it where it says more of my channels. You can see I've got Stephen Bradley Waters TV. We've got Inside PC Gaming. We've also got Zorf Sims. So I changed my name from Inside PC Gaming to Zorf Gaming because I wanted to be a bit more open, expansive. It was just a name that popped into my head. And it's something I went with. And I've got a passion for sim racing and gaming in general in that way, you know, whether it's Flight Simulator. But to a point, I'm not so tied in, which is why I wasn't as committed. But I just wanted to segregate content because it can get quite heavy. But anyway, we all experiment when it comes to content creation, and I think it's an important place to get to. I quite like the heading I did there at the top. That was fun to create. And it's all part of the process. Effectively, everything we create helps build us towards the next phase of our life and our journey and what we end up focusing on. And it's allowed me the freedom to create the channel I'm doing here. And I can see it over it's all fairly new, you know. Like my heavy input into my main profile on YouTube's only been for the past month, I think. If we scroll back, that's a day ago. I've been creating quite frequent recently. But if we look how regular it's been since 8 months ago, that one. 8 months ago, 8 months ago, 8 months ago. Then it was like 4 months ago I created this one. Then 2 months ago. And there was only a couple of videos 2 months ago that was that. So really, it's only, like I said, a month ago, that's when all the heavy contents had turned up. So I've only been concentrating on YouTube for a month now, really, lately. And that's pushed me towards creating the other one. So it's building, isn't it? So like that video diary section there's 2 videos eventually. It'll be 4, won't it? And it'll be 4, 4, 4. My Zorf, not Zorf, we're not doing that one anymore. But this one where it's got 2, it won't be long before that's just full of videos and the channel's just growing now. Whether people notice it is irrelevant. It's just where the content's going and I'm building it. And then eventually I'll add some, because obviously there's not enough content to create loads of playlists yet. But there'll be playlists eventually that sort of segregate content and make it more easy for people to source things. And I'm excited where it goes. And the thing is, like, I could create and create and create. Maybe over the next 2 or 3 months, it could be an awful lot of content. Then it could dry up for like 6 months to a year. Or it could just completely stop like the others. But the reality is it's still there and I can watch it back in the future as well. And it's a period in your life where you really wanted to talk about things. For instance, my most recent video, I actually posted on my main profile. But because I just created this last night, I was like, wait a minute, I think that right now, that would be a good one to put on my gaming one now, the TV one. And that's Gaming in Decline, End of an Era, where I talk about the fact that studios have been bought up and completely annihilated by publishers who are just trying to dominate the market. So we've got games from the past that I feel are superior to the games of the present and even possibly the future. And there are so many brilliant studios who create original content and great IPs that are now like history. And we've just lost so many great franchises. And I just think it's mental, all because of big corporations trying to take the monopoly of the gaming industry, really. And the trouble is they're hedging their bets on really big cinematic experiences that cost so much money that they won't take a gamble on genuine products that are fun. And it's like, not be honest, like these cinematic experiences are great, but when it comes down to it, we play games to have fun, and it's the gameplay that matters. And I think going back to basics on some levels is really much needed. So my recent video, I did Quake 3 Arena last night. I just returned to it, have a little check of it, and I just it brought back all the memories from that period where in the 90s, where I loved gaming. I truly fell in love with it, and the multiplayer was just so original, and it was just so basic in its raw form, but it was so fun. There's this arena shooter where you was just tied into. There was no like hiding and camping. You wouldn't have space for it. Everything was about just running around like a maniac with high-powered energy weapons. And really big emphasis on the kills and things. It says double kill, and it's like so fun. You just caught up in it. Nowadays, you've got all these other games. They're too complicated, and it's pay to win for the most part. And I just wish someone would have the guts to create a game from the past, really, that was just fun. It was all about fun, and I have no doubt that would be highly popular today if there was a market for it. But sadly, people are not investing because they think we want other content when we're not. We're not looking for recycled shit anymore, Anyway, between those 2 videos, you'll get a glimpse of that. And having more coming in the future. So yeah, I just wanted to really talk about the fact that I have all these different channels. I did not realize I've been talking for 20 minutes. You could argue I'm built for content creation, but not for the duration that I do. I've got to find a balance between that. I've got to learn to do highlight snippets because in all honesty, I like what I create. So I just pump the whole video out, not realizing people don't have 20 minutes to watch it. and that's just sad.